Today on the CTV News at 5, dozens of southern Albertans are hailed as heroes as hundreds of travelers are stranded by Sunday's storm. Plus, local firefighters are honored with the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. And dancing to cure cancer.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Across southern Alberta today, people are sharing stories of terrifying drives, treacherous roads, and the hospitality of caring communities. Hundreds of people filled hotels and emergency centers as icy highways in whiteout conditions closed highways from Fort Macleod to the Saskatchewan border. Terry Vogt reports.
The storm struck hard and fast, making even a short drive a white-knuckle adventure and turning the normal 30-minute drive from Lethbridge to Fort Macleod into a terrifying 5.5-hour ordeal for Debbie Eli.
It was a complete whiteout and vehicles were swerving to miss all the debris and the vehicles on the road.
RCMP say on this stretch of highway alone there were about 20 collisions, thankfully most of them minor and with only a few injuries. Eli was eventually rescued by members of the Fort Macleod Fire and EMS.
They were our heroes in a time of crisis.
That's what we're there for. When we're called, we go out. It doesn't matter the conditions. Yesterday's conditions were horrid.
Fire Chief Al Zodeman says crews spent a long afternoon manning roadblocks and responding to emergency calls. At one point, highways in both directions were completely shut down, and the town activated its emergency plan.
You know, within minutes we had the community hall opened up.
As weather conditions went from bad to worse, the community responded. More than 30 volunteered to work at the community center, and others offered their own homes to billet stranded motorists. Some local businesses provided staff and donated food. At one point, up to 300 people were packed into the community hall, a safe, warm place while they waited for the storm to pass.
Yeah, it's really great to see a community come together like that, and I know the people that were there were very appreciative.
Debbie Eli says she can't say enough about those who offered help and reassurance, even putting their own lives on the line to help others during a time of crisis. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Fort Macleod.
Several communities along Highway 2 and in southeastern Alberta were in the same position. About 100 travelers were storm stayed at the Nanton Community Centre. Fort Macleod Mayor Sean Patience says the response says a lot about the people of southern Alberta and those who live in small communities. Now, on our CTV Lethbridge Facebook page, we asked you, who helped you during Sunday's storm? Jen wrote, I would just like to say big thanks to Damien of Colehurst, who drove us home after we slid into the back of his truck on Highway 3 yesterday. What a way to meet your neighbors, but so lucky for kind and understanding people. Well, Jessica added, I was not stranded, but I am proud to be from Fort Macleod. I would like to give a pat on the back for all those that helped at the community hall and around town to make sure stranded travelers were safe and comfortable. And to the lady everyone wants to talk to, Dory Rossiter. How about that snow?
No one really wants to talk to me when the weather's that bad.
No.
Well, they do. They want to find out what's happening. But yeah, it's not a great day to be a weather person as far as the popularity ratings go. But yesterday, boy, that was predicted. It was a predicted storm. That was the thing that was really interesting about it, but it still took a lot of people by surprise. So we'll have more details about where that storm has gone to now and who it's giving some trouble to. I'll tell you all the details.
More weather coming up. Thanks, Dory. More charges have been laid in the disturbing allegations of the sexual exploitation of a 13-year-old Lethbridge girl. Last month, police charged 2 men after they said that the girl was procured for prostitution and sexually assaulted. 31-year-old Casey Lane Sweetgrass of Standoff has now been charged with sexual assault, sexual interference, and invitation to sexual touching. He's been released from custody on several conditions. 32-year-old Memphis Grossventure of Lethbridge is facing several charges as well, including procuring prostitution, while 61-year-old Robert John Gerard of Lethbridge is facing charges of sexual assault, soliciting a youth for sex, and sexual touching. A hearing date will be set for a man awaiting sentencing on child porn charges that could extend his punishment long after his prison term. 26-year-old Patrick Brian Rickman pleaded guilty to possessing child pornography after a memory stick containing images was found in a computer lab at the U of L in August of 2009. A hearing date will be set on March 25th to determine whether Rickman should be labeled a long-term offender, which could mean 10 years of supervision after his eventual release from custody. And police say it could have been a whole lot worse. A train collided with a semi-trailer this afternoon on Lethbridge's south side. The truck stopped for a red light at the intersection of 30th Street and Highway 3 South. The driver pulled forward as far as he could, but the train hit the back end of the rig, sending the shingles it was carrying flying and damaging the trailer too. The locomotive was traveling slow through the city. Luckily, no one was injured. And a man is being treated for non-life-threatening injuries after his truck went off Scenic Drive and then collided with a light standard. It happened Saturday just in front of the NMAX Center. Police say the driver may have suffered a medical emergency just before his truck went off the road, knocked over a sign and then hit the pole. Eastbound traffic was reduced to one lane for almost 2 hours while police carried out their investigation. 4 Lethbridge firefighters are a little more decorated today after receiving the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Award. Lieutenant Dave Hetherington, Platoon Chief Jesse Kurtz, Captain David Chalmers, and Chief Brian Cornforth were acknowledged for their outstanding services to the community this afternoon at Lethbridge City Hall. The Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal was created to mark the 60th year of Queen Elizabeth II's accession to the throne and honor significant contributions and achievements of Canadians.
Well, it's a pretty big honor. I feel very, very, very good about it. It was certainly a surprise to be nominated like this, and it was not something that I had any knowledge about prior to being nominated, so it was a big deal.
It's incredible, and I'm really humbled by it. I think everybody does a great job in our department and throughout the emergency services. This is really a humbling experience, but it's nice. Nearly
60,000 Canadians are being recognized with the medals. Well, when it comes to avalanche safety, education is key. In Kimberley, BC, the local high school is teaming up with avalanche safety educators to make sure that the next generation of outdoor enthusiasts have the skills that they need to enjoy the winter sports that they love. Kimberly Davidson reports.
Having the right equipment and knowing how to use it. That's just part of the avalanche safety training this group of high school students from Kimberley is taking in.
The main goal of basic avalanche education is to recognize that you can't control the weather. You cannot control the avalanche conditions. They're changing all the time, but you can control where you go.
What do I have here? Powder. The students are looking at terrain, learning to recognize danger zones, studying the snowpack, and understanding how a weak layer can translate into a slide.
Buried and has a slab on top. What do you think that does for stability? All of our ski hills, Revelstoke, Kimberley, Fernie, Whistler, they've all got really great access to really dangerous, potentially dangerous conditions. And so it's really critical that students in particular who are just beginning their backcountry career, just kind of testing the boundaries of where they can ski, where they should, understand what gear they need, what information they need, and how to make good decisions on whether to go across that line or not, and if they're prepared for it or not.
About half the students here are combining field training with classroom work to get their Level 1 avalanche certification.
Oh, there's more kids my age who are going out in the backcountry, and there's a lot of kids who don't have any knowledge, who aren't prepared.
I feel like I want to, but I definitely want to be prepared. I don't want to be stuck out there and not know what I'm doing.
Most avalanche incidents involving people occur when the danger rating is considerable. So awareness of conditions and surroundings is a key part of the training that these teens will need when they head into the backcountry. Kimberly Davidson, CTV News, Kimberley.
There have been 3 avalanche-related deaths in Canada so far this season. Updated avalanche conditions are available online at avalanche.ca. Nearly 250 people joined in what's being called the most popular exercise routine on the planet. This weekend, the fitness craze was used to help a good cause. They poured their dance and sweat into helping cancer patients receiving chemotherapy. Brendan Miller explains.
15-year-old cancer survivor Keely Furby has a dream to help other children when she grows up. She plans to become a children's cancer specialist. But over the weekend, she was just focused on being a kid.
There's like a lot of it's kind of like almost like samba or some kind of salsa dancing almost.
At the age of 7, Keely was diagnosed with leukemia and underwent 2.5 years of chemotherapy. A year after her initial treatment ended, doctors told Keely she would need a bone marrow transplant.
Well, I missed 2 years of school, and I really didn't get to see much of my friends, and I missed out on a lot of my childhood, so it was kind of hard.
Now cancer-free, she plays on her school's badminton team and plans to try out for rugby next year. But this is her first Zumba experience. She joined 281 others at the college to raise funds.
It's a charity event for the Jack 80 Cancer Center. We're trying to raise $7,500 to go towards some TVs in the chemo rooms for chemo patients that are sitting in, for up to 8 hours at a time to get, have something to do while they're getting chemo.
We need to raise awareness for cancer because it really is possible to make a cure for cancer.
And it's generosity like this that has inspired Keely to pursue her dream of becoming a children's cancer specialist so other kids won't have to endure the physical and emotional pain of fighting cancer at a young age. Brendan Miller, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Over $7,000 was raised for the Jack 80 Cancer Center. Queen Elizabeth is up and walking again, walking right out of the hospital. Barely 24 hours after she was admitted to the hospital, a smiling Queen Elizabeth walked out looking remarkably healthy. She was admitted Sunday afternoon with symptoms of a flu. She will be 87 next month. In her 6 decades on the throne, she has rarely missed even a day at work, and then usually because of a bad cold or back pain. The last time she spent a night in the hospital, that was 10 years ago for knee surgery. The Queen's public appearances for the next week are postponed or cancelled, including a trip to Rome. And Forbes is out with its 2013 list of the world's richest people. Mexico's Carlos Slim takes the top spot for the 4th year in a row. The telecom mogul has a net worth $73 billion. Microsoft founder Bill Gates is in 2nd place. Warren Buffett, he dropped to 4th. 210 new billionaires were added this year, and I'm not one of them either. In the markets today, all eyes will be on the Dow Jones this week to see if the industrial average will break its all-time high record from October of 2007. Here are the day's markets.